When you get a shotgun Riven, what is the one thing that you don't want to see? Chances are probably this thing, the Convectrix. Hey guys, hello and welcome back. As always, my name is Leyzar and today we're going to be diving deeper into this Mastery Rank 7 primary weapon. As per the usual, I'm going to be presenting you with a couple of builds, something cheap and affordable, something anybody can build, but we also have a maxed out setup with a Riven. That being said though, please keep in mind that my builds and guides follow a new player friendly approach. Simply because there's a lot of info here and I want anybody watching to understand how the weapon functions and how it should be built. And I understand that you may be a veteran and not interested in all these explanations. You can have a bit of patience or skip ahead. And with that out of the way, let's jump into the only weapon that actually managed to get on my nerves. The Convectrix. What the? Did I just jump through the... Ha! I think I found the secret. Let's begin by having a look at how the weapon behaves without any mods equipped. And in advance guys, sorry for the voice, but I think I'm catching a bit of a cold. The Convectrix is a beam weapon with a limited range of 13 meters, and as soon as you pull the trigger, the two beams that start from the sides will kinda start converging towards the center point. And after about a second and a half, the two will meet in the center, and that's when you actually get to deal a consistent amount of damage. Now that's not all, you also have a secondary fire mode, and if you keep your key pressed down, the beams will constantly cycle from left to right like that, dealing AoE damage of sorts. And that's pretty much it when it comes to base stats. This is still a shotgun, and keep in mind that the status chance will be getting divided among those two beams. Now let's jump into stats to see precisely what we're dealing with. Mod capacity is gonna be 60 out of 60, and if yours has only 30 out of 30, jump into actions and install the Auto King Catalyst. This one can be found from alerts, invasions, especially after dev streams. You can also pay 20 plat to have one plugged in, and you can also get one from the sortie, but the chance of it dropping is rather low. My weapon has been formatted a total of 5 times, but this was done only for the purpose of testing. For the weapon build I'm recommending you guys, you should be able to get away with 3. By default, the Convectrix does come with a dash, and you can add 3 of these here V symbols or Madurai. The accuracy is 50, and you can use on this one, especially considering that it is a beam weapon vicious spread without any problem at all. The crit chance, the bane of my existence, 16%. Now if this was a rifle, this wouldn't have been a huge issue because we get point strike with 150% crit chance, but when it comes to shotguns, what you have is blunderbuss, and blunderbuss only gives you 90% crit chance. Now there is laser sight as well. This one is cheap, 15-20 plat, maximum event only mod, blah blah. On headshot, 120% critical chance when aiming for 9 seconds, and you can couple these together to get a decent value when it comes to critical chance out of the Convectrix. And why would you do that to begin with, considering the base crit chance? The base crit multi is quite nice at 2.4, so it's definitely worth it, especially considering we do have prime ravaged when it comes to shotguns. The fire rate is 12, pretty quick for a shotgun, magazine of 70, noise alarming, a default punch through of 0.6 meters, which is just enough to deal with those shielded enemies from the Grenier faction. Reload of 2.0, a Riven disposition of 5 out of 5, because let's be honest, who plays with the Convectrix? A status chance of 30%, but once again this one does get divided among the beams. Trigger held, and there's no stats for secondary fire, so I'm just gonna be assuming that the damage is the same, right? Of course. Impact, puncture, and slash on the weapon. As you can see, this is primarily a slash based weapon. Now what you can do with a weapon such as this is go for status, yes, and if I go for status and I apply all the 4 60-60 mods and make whatever elemental combo I desire, well then I'm gonna go to 100%, and both of the beams will have that 100% status chance, and both of the beams will be applying a status with each and every tick. What status exactly depends on what I'm gonna be building. Just keep in mind that this being a beam weapon, you are getting 2 damage ticks per ammo, so therefore 2 status effects, so therefore 2 beams to status, you get it? You can apply a whole lot of statuses, but here's the kicker. When I tried the weapon with 100% status chance, going for slash or going for elemental or whatever, it was simply underwhelming, so I'm not gonna be recommending a full status build. This is a standard build, and we got damage with point blank, vicious spread, and blaze, like mentioned before, because of the fact that the Convectrix is a beam weapon. The negative of vicious spread, that plus 60% spread, is mostly negligible. Go 100% for vicious spread. When it comes to Blaze, this is a fantastic mod. Pound for pound, this one adds a whole lot of damage to any shotgun. The problem with Blaze is that it adds an additional element to the proc possibility. I have heat on the weapon now and I'm gonna be proccing less of what I want. In the case of this build, it's a corrosive based build made anti-grenier for the most part. I got 470 corrosive because of Toxic Barrage, Shell Shock and Charge Shell. Now this is not even the first proc priority. The first proc priority is gonna be Slash because IPS has a 4 times greater chance at proccing over elemental types such as corrosive. Now because of the two 60-60 mods, my status chance went up to 66%. This being a beam weapon, if you guys wanna slap on some multi-shoot on it, you will see that the status chance does not go up, but instead your damage, only your damage gets increased. But it's kind of based off the modded weapon damage value, so if I do something like this and you add up the numbers, you will see that it doesn't apply. Multi-shot damage increase on beam weapons doesn't apply to the base amount, so keep that one in mind. Yes, I am fully aware it's a bit kooky, but that's kind of how it works. And of course on the weapon I got a lot of multi-shot with Hell's Chamber and Vigilante armaments. Now this is a base build I'm going to be recommending to mostly anybody. There's only one expensive mod here, Shell Shock. However, you can farm this one from the mission Elgar on the planet Eris. Find all the free secret caches, then head on over to Extraction. You got a 5% chance of getting this one, or what was the other one? High voltage, yes, the one for rifles. I won't lie to you guys, the grind on Elgar is anything but fun, but if you don't want to pay for anything like trade chat, plat, and all whatnot, you can farm it like that. Shell Shock goes for about 70, 80, even 100 plat. Now let's see, what can I get out of this thing? This will be performance with a standard build of sorts, and then we're gonna switch it up and try a bit of crit. As you can see, the weapon can kill level 120 corrupted heavy gunners. It took a while, however, and let's keep in mind that these guys will be shooting you as you don't have the, well, luxury of pausing AI in the actual mission, so bear that one in mind. The performance of the weapon with a standard everyday build is mostly what I would say normal for an MR7 weapon. It's not terrible, definitely. I don't think this weapon deserves the hate it gets. The problem with the Convectrix is not how it functions or the damage or the stats that it has. It's these two stupid beams that need to do a goddamn crab impersonation for some reason. I don't get it. If it just shot straight from the get-go, it would be a whole lot more usable, and I believe the weapon would get used a whole lot more, and it wouldn't be so unpopular because it's cool. Come on, it's a laser beam shotgun. I want this to be awesome. The secondary fire don't even no, just bloody no. The damage is okay. The status chance is okay. The critical chance, critical damage combo is okay-ish for an MR7 weapon. The problem is that stupid, gimmicky, and utterly pointless mechanic it has of bringing the two beams together. What you can do is build a bit of magazine capacity, and if you build magazine capacity, you're gonna be able to keep your finger on the trigger longer, so therefore the crab legs don't get resetted. So there is that to take into account. But let's try it with a bit of crit, shall we? Let's try to make use out of that multiplier that it has. If I go for blunderbuss like I mentioned before, the result is rather meh. If I had 150%, that would have been a whole lot better, so we're just gonna go straight with laser sight. I'm gonna be dropping blaze because once again, the problem I have this one is not the damage. Okay, the damage is fantastic. The problem is I don't want another element on my weapon. As for critical damage, we're gonna go with ravage. 60% critical damage, 3.8x crit multi with a crit chance of about 35-ish% with laser sights up. And just for reference, as you can see, nothing here will be skewing the test results. This one applies only to pistols, but we're gonna be going like this with something empty. Yes, yes. Same targets as before, and let's see if the Convectrix is any better with more crit chance and crit damage. So we drop Blaze, which is a whole lot of damage, and we also dropped the 90% mod. As you can see, the weapon performs just a tad better with critical chance, and that is a good thing because for shotguns, we got the prime version of Ravage, and that is a whole lot of crit damage. Now if I put this one on Harrow and guarantee my crit chance and simply load up the weapon with as much critical damage as I can, and I can load it with plenty of crit damage, then it's gonna look like an insane weapon. And you know what? The Convectrix is not a bad weapon, definitely not. The damage is okay. It's a laser beam shotgun again, and it looks kind of cool, at least. Well, it's subjective, but I think it looks really cool. The problem is, once again, it's weighed down by that pointless mechanic. If we didn't have the crab legs meeting in the center and simply getting annoying from mission to mission, then I believe that this weapon would be a whole lot more popular. In any case, let's move to a Riven setup. I tried to get the most out of the weapon, and I got this Riven right here. It's a Convectrix Satyata with multi-shot and damage, and as you can see, once again, this is a corrosive base build. You're gonna see that with prime point blank, prime charge shell, and with the Riven, the weapon is a whole lot more powerful now, which is normal considering the difference in stats. So if you wanna play with the weapon, rest assured that it does pack a serious punch. Now let's see that difference. Better, a whole lot better than before. If you get a Riven for the Convectrix, I would honestly force critical chance just to get the use out of that high critical multi. Of course, you can use it on Harrow or something like that, but as you can see, the weapon is capable of melting high level targets. And let's be honest, how many of us actually see these level of corrupted heavy gunners? Not a lot. The reason why I test against them, because I want a target that it can take a couple of good hits before dying. Against Corpus, against Infested, it's very easy to take them out. Corrupted heavy gunners are a whole lot harder than that. Now, let's try to get everything we can out of the weapon, and I'm gonna be loading it with a lot of critical damage and use it with Lord Harrow. This is the build I'm gonna be using, and I'm going to be dropping Vigilante armaments, and of course we're gonna be using Prime Ravage. Now I can do something else too. I can get even more critical damage with Shrapnel Shot. This is 99% critical damage. But to drop what? My elemental combo, a Prime Charge Shell? Nah, I'm gonna be dropping Vicious Spread, and we're gonna be going like this. Now that is gonna be an insane crit multi. My critical chance will be guaranteed by Harrow, so let's take a look at what kind of buffs he will provide. When it comes to the aura, you can use something called Shotgun Amp, but unfortunately it only provides 18% extra damage. Honestly, it's simply not worth it. Against Grenier, Corrosive Projection is guaranteed to give you better results, but Amp Aura such as Pistol Amp, Shotgun Amp, Rifle Amp will guarantee their bonus regardless of the target. When it comes to Arcanes, you can use Arcane Rage. This one will give you on headshot 10% chance for plus 120% damage to rifles for 16 seconds. And while this one may state to rifles, it's actually to primary weapons, so it will apply to the Convectrix. As for the second Arcane, you can go for something like Arcane Avenger, especially if you're not running it with Harrow, because that means 30% bonus additive after on your crit chance. So it has 16 by default. With this one up, it's gonna go to 46%. When using it with Harrow, it has a lesser benefit, but once again, this is a decent combination. You also have the following Arcane, which is super cheap for shotguns, and it's called Arcane Tempo. Where the hell is the R3? There we go, a lot of R3s. On critical hit, 10% chance for 60% fire rate to shotguns for 8 seconds. So you can also load it with something like this. Now let's see what it can do with Lord Harrow. Harrow's fourth ability will give me my crit, and his second ability will give me fire rate as well as... oh my god, look at that. Wow. Yeah, amazing, isn't it? That's the power of Harrow, not necessarily the Convectrix. It does have that fantastic critical damage multiplier, but as you can see, this weapon can absolutely shred when built and used in the correct circumstance. Once again, the Convectrix could be a fantastic weapon if it wasn't weighed down by a pointless, utterly pointless mechanic. Honestly, it's the first weapon that pissed me off, because it can be great. It could be so great. I just don't understand the mechanic on this one. It serves no real purpose. It's nothing but a gimmick, and it's not even fun to use. And while all that may be subjective, that's gonna do it for the Convectrix review. As always, my name has been Leyzar. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. If you have any feedback for me, by all means, leave it in the comment section down below. You can also find me on Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, all the usual places. Until next time, my friends. Bye-bye.